back again for another episode. I'm going to give you a quick update of where I am. Just done some filming for a gearbox episode. Now this is where the engine's currently sat. The valve cover is actually on with its gasket and all the bolts. So to get mine to fit, because I want the turbo to be able to stay where it is and take the cover on and off, and it is a decent sized turbo, I've actually, the back of this NA cover, you got a big chunky tab there. It's basically for you to lever off to take it, to get the cover off, but to be honest, they're quite easy to get off. Like, there's things to grab hold of, and also it's at the very back. So this one here, you can see it's flat. This one here, nice and smooth. So I basically just cut it off and ground it nice and smooth because it was extra sticking out. And then I've got, they're shorter studs than factory, but I need to trim these two. So I've got studs in the middle. Studs do hold on back the nuts. I've got studs in the middle, studs on the outer, here, and a little tiny stud here, because my AN10, I could never get a bolt in. You can't get a bolt into that. It's got to be a stud, but a shallow one. And then bolts at the back so that I can tilt it enough. And this clears, this cover fits on and off with this setup of all studs, but 3 bolts in the back. It clears past that cover. You can pick it on and off. It comes off quite easily and slide it on. You just got to line it up and then it just drops down and slides past it. So I'm quite happy with that because I don't want to move my Owens turbo if I ever have to take this off. I don't plan on taking it off, but just in case I need to. I'd said before about that I'd lost my nice oil cap, so I found that again. That's actually off a Porsche 911. I've got the same for the coolant cap. They were actually already on the engine, on my old engine. In that, when I bought that thing, I would have bought a set for it anyway. It's my large port intake manifold, completely stock, which I got off Mr. Speedline with the Crazy T4. That's my BAM rail, which we're going to make fit with the injectors. I'm going to be popping the injectors in to see what kind of spacing we need off of it, or if I actually even need to grind a little bit off to sink them further down. It's a lot of questions and no one seems to have a specific answer of how much it needs to be. If I take you over to here, you can see the awesome work by my mate Eddie, who's doing all my fab work for me. I've ordered all the intercooler stuff, which you've seen, which is down over there, and yes, it is a mess because I've been pulling gearboxes out. I've also ordered all the exhaust stuff, so I've got a flange and a V-band coming from Owen Developments. Thanks for the jumper. Coming for this, for the downpipe, I'm going, so that's 3 inch, it's going to 3.5, and it's coming 3.5 all the way down to about here-ish, and then it will go back to 3 inch just before it comes to its next V-band for then the rest of the exhaust. It's going to have a center round small silencer to help with the noise, and then it's going to have an oval decent, pretty big-ish one at the very back. It's the tip that I haven't decided on. So the problem is with the CupraRs from factory, they come with an oval exhaust, and I used to have an oval Cobra exhaust on it, which is actually really good if you've got a CupraR and it's just modded a small amount or stage 2, as long as you're basically not going massive turbo. The Cobra 3 inch is not 3 inch, it's 2.7. It's not a 3 inch exhaust. It's mint and literally sounds the best. Get the non-res one, don't bother with the res one, get the non-res. It's not too bad and droney, and it fits perfect, and it sounds honestly the best out of all the exhaust that you can just buy online and fit straight to your car, and it fits really well as well. Now it's oval, it's a big 6 inch by 4 inch oval tip, and they fit perfect. The problem is I don't think I want to keep oval, but it's oval here. So we've got a couple choices with tips. We could get a normal straight. I don't want, the problem is I don't want a rolled tip. I'll try to put a picture of what the normal exhaust looks like. It's oval, but it's a roll tip, so it's got a thick edge. I literally want a pipe. So we could have a straight 3 inch pipe round. We could have a straight 3.5 inch pipe
which I can check once all my exhaust parts turn up. We can line them up to see what it looks like. I could also go for the same sizes in 3 and 3.5 turn down tip, so slightly turned down. You see a lot of track cars and race cars like that. It's supposed to help with noise, I believe, but the noise is still going to bounce off the floor, so I don't know how much it actually helps. Or we could go for an oval, but I'm a bit hesitant of the rolled tip. I quite like a proper more motorsport style exhaust, because the whole exhaust system's being redone all in stainless. Most of it is going to be in 316 stainless, which is a better grade. A couple of the bits have had to be 304 because we couldn't actually find them in 316. Now, most stainless exhaust people make, they do it in 304, which is fine and is good, but we've gone for 316 because for most of it, well, everything we can, because it's marine grade, it will never rust at all that way. So I've got all that coming. I don't know if I'd shown you before, but this is my Funk Motorsport heat blanket, just like a turbo blanket, but for my Tile 44mm wastegate, and you can see it around there. This is going to keep some heat off coming towards this AN line, which is going to be heat sleeved. I've got heat sleeve over there for it, and to stop it heat coming off towards the turbo, towards these water pipes, which I've adjusted, which I showed you previously. They're not in their final resting place. They have got heat sleeving on them, but this thing's going to get hot. I'm going to run water cooling for it. You don't have to. It says for the road you don't have to do it, but for race you have to. I'm going to run coolant for it because it's not that much of a hassle really. I'm literally going to run a pipe off of this here. It's going to come down into the water fitting and then come back out, probably this water fitting here, and then it will come up towards the top of the bulkhead. And on the BAMs you've got it as factory. I might have it somewhere, but I don't know where, in that mess, which is even more messy because I pulled the gearbox stuff out. There's a metal pipe that runs up along the very top of the bulkhead. I had got rid of that, but I'd kept it as a spare bits to make stuff out of. I'm going to refit in that, and then that pipe will go up and join into it. I'm potentially going to run the coolant drain up to it as well, and then it'll run through this metal pipe on the bulkhead along round the back of the engine to about here, and then it will come off of it into rubber pipes again, and they'll join back into one, and then they're going to go into the coolant bottle as its little return. It will go into that, and then the coolant bottle will be feeding out down into the rest of the stuff. Also forgot to mention, I've got there's tape on it just to stop me getting any crap inside the engine still. I have got a spacer, an inlet spacer. It's designed to stop heat soak from the head getting to the manifold. This manifold's still going to get hot. It's in that engine bay and I don't plan on running meth, but it will help it not be directly bolted to it. So that's obviously large port. I don't know if I'd said before, I might have. I needed new studs and nuts for this, so that I didn't want to reuse the old ones, and my old studs were actually bent. Well, the studs that came on this head were bent. So I've got a titanium stud and nut kit. As you can see, it looks absolutely awesome. That was from ERC as well, so thank you for that. Gave me a great deal on it. Unfortunately, you're not going to see this when the engine's in, which is a shame. These sit transversely in these, so all of this is hidden away. The only thing you will see, which I wanted you to be able to see, is this turbo poking over this valve cover. Now, if you lean over the back, you will be able to see it. There's going to be heat shielding here. I'm not going to put any heat shielding over the top. You'll be able to see downpipe. You probably won't be able to see that. Still unsure whether I'll get ceramic coated, because it's going to be about 350 quid, and I've just spent a load of money on the materials for the exhaust, and I spent just bought new brakes because the brakes were absolutely haggard on that. So it's got new discs and pads come in for it as well, so I can't really at the moment justify 350 quid on that. So I have got some heat wrap I can use. However,
it does look really nice. I would kind of prefer to keep it like this. I know it's not, I'm trying to do things properly and more motorsport style with heat protection, but it does look so good, and it'd be such a shame to cover it up. So at the moment I'm unsure what I'm going to do. I've got heat wrap, so I can heat wrap it, or I could get ceramic coated in the future. I still don't know. Let me know what you think. Should I just leave it? A lot of people just leave these. A lot of people just leave them. Do I heat wrap it, or do I wait and then I've got to get all of this out again and off when it's been bolted to the car already, driving it around? At some point take it off, maybe over winter or something, and get ceramic coated. Not too sure. Coolant line, I think I'd said this is the feed. It comes out the block, it's a banjo, then to AN6, and it comes round. So instead of going down the gap like I'd said and everyone seems to do, why not be different and do a better route in? So instead of going in between those exhaust pipes and down, I've actually gone round the side, round this gap over here and round, so that I've got more almost fell over, so I've got more clearance all the way around. If you look at the gap there around the exhaust, and it's heat sleeved, is lovely, the amount of gap, and I'll have that with a metal cable tie or something, or some sort of clip up against that coolant pipe, but it's kept nice as far away from the exhaust manifold as I could keep it until it gets to here. There is still a decent gap. Like I said, it's probably going to end up with some heat protection at some point. The drain, I haven't fully decided on what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing at the moment, which is an AN10 braided PTFE line. You can see here I've marked it. I'm going to do this and fit it. I'm going to show you how to do that. I haven't decided whether I do that or whether I use the metal flexi section and then some of this. Still unsure what I'm going to do with that. That's a quick update to where we are. Like I said, this, I'm happy with where this is sat. So this I've actually nipped up to keep it from moving. We've got just enough space down in there in between everything, so I've pen marked here and pen marked over there so that I know the rotation where this is going to be clocked, because for the moment it's going to be sat there, but we're going to have to take this off because we're going to be welded onto it. And I've done the same, you won't be able to see it, I've done the same for the cold side so that I can make sure when I take this apart, because I'm going to either be putting locking tabs on or potentially locking wire, when I take this apart it goes back on the same place. Otherwise it's going to be a world of pain trying to make sure I put it in the right place so that the cover still comes on and off, but that we've still got enough room for the drain from the wastegate pipe and all of that stuff. So it's always a good idea, once you've finally decided and you're 100% sure, and test it, make sure that things do clear, to then mark your turbo where it's going to live. Or if someone's built it for you already, even if they don't mark it, before you take it off or before you take it apart, any turbo, I would suggest putting some sort of mark. These are literally, use a Sharpie or paint pen, mark the turbo where it's clocked so that it is fitted correctly. Otherwise you will be into a world of pain when you fit in. Things don't seem to quite line up properly. So that's my quick update of where I am. I might film a bit more and show you with the injectors, or I might just show you once the injectors are all in, show you what the gapping is like. AGU, stock large port inlet, BAM rail, and I've got some 1000cc Bosch injectors, so I'm probably going to get those, fit those, see what the gap's like, chuck some spark plugs in it as well, so that they're not in the house rattling around. Some of the stuff I've been keeping in the house because it's a mess here. Even more, look how much bad a mess that is, because that's the box that I'm going to be storing the rest of the gears in. So I've got spare gears, hopefully I won't have to use them, but it's worth it because it was free. Right, so I fitted the 1000cc injectors. I've done it two ways and I'll do it another way in a minute to show you. So EV14 1000cc Bosch injectors, BAM rail, see there's a gap in between, this should be slid down it. BAM rail on a, same as the head, this is an AGU large port inlet, so there is a gap, and I have heard about this. So you can use a different rail, and then the different rails you normally actually shim them up to clear, which I'd thought about, but then I've got a normally change the fuel pressure regulator. Don't know whether I'm going to stay 3 bar or 4 bar for the moment anyway, but I'll just keep that one on for the moment until I've talked to the tuner and found out whether he wants me to run a 3 or 4 bar. So the injectors I've got on it are from CP Fuel Injection. There's, as I said, 1000cc Bosch EV14s. These are the other two. I've only fitted the 2 for current measurements. So as you can see, they don't click in. So if these O-rings are lubed, I've actually just put a little bit of engine oil on them. You need to lube your O-rings when you fit them, so that they actually fit properly and they don't pinch the O-rings. So if I slide this one up into its home, there you go, right, that's where it's supposed to live. So what we need to do is see where it's going to sit, and as you can see, it sits where that clip is. So there's a little ridge there for these rusty clips to basically slide in here, and they're going to hold it in place, hold it where it should be. So if I fit one of these, so we know exactly where its fitment is, we're then going to go to this side. This injector is fully seated all the way in, so you can see it's got the gap like that one did. So we'll choose our point to measure from, which is the little recess that this goes into, which is there. We'll measure from there up until the edge of this lip, and then we will know how much we've got to shave off these to get this to fit. Right, so I'm going to do some measurements. You might be able to see. I'll try to do it so that you can see. I'm a bit out of practice doing my measurements, to be honest.